They can cut that out now?
No.
All right. Good morning, y'all. I was going to get here this morning and talk to you guys about managed hosting. I know when you work in the WordPress world, there's a lot of weird ways to get involved and get your host up there, and there's a bunch of options out there. Recently, I kind of hit the point where I kind of got sick of managing a whole bunch of my WordPress instances and trying to find a better solution. So I spent probably 4 weeks doing vendor research and going back and doing platform research, pricing models, issuing RFPs, and getting those all back, compiling procedure management, and getting it approved, and figuring out a migration strategy. So I just wanted to get up here and share some of this with you in case it's useful on, because one of the big things that, we'll get there. So first, I don't know what my transitions are, so you guys are going to bear with me on this. Who am I? I'm Dale. That's the picture that comes up whenever you Google me. It lives on a University of Pittsburgh web server that nobody has control over because the group that hosted it on the server with my name attached to it no longer exists. So it is on the internet forever and ever and ever and ever. And I will never be able to shake this in any interview. It's like one of the third things that comes up when you Google me.
So you may as well put it right up.
If you would stop looking it up.
And clicking on it.
That's like my Friday night. Come on. I'm a PHP developer. I've been doing this since about 2001 professionally. I turned a WordPress guy in 2009 when my company got shut down, and we had to figure out a scalable way to have one dude make a whole bunch of sites as fast as possible. WordPress was a good choice. And I work for a company called Rockhouse Partners. We are the digital marketing agency for a ticketing company called eFix. And most of you probably already know that. What do I know? Well, what I know is if you're going to be doing an operation that requires you to pump out a lot of sites really fast, WordPress multi-site, new network we've been working with since 2.8 when it was sort of beta. It is really good at scaling, and it's not just good at scaling local resources. It's good at scaling a lot of things. It's good at scaling your LAMP stack because it reduces the amount of files you got to keep in memory. So if you have APC fired up with PHP, it will stop if you have FPM running as well, it stops all your files in memory, all your theme files, all the WordPress core files. Your LAMP stack and your PHP binaries never have to go touch the file system to load next to the page. So it gives you a really nice, clean scaling line that's pretty smooth as you add sites to it. And it's also just easy to scale by tweaking a few variables, make sure you have enough memory, and feed PHP enough memory, feed MySQL cache enough memory. You can keep everything in memory, and then you can have a really tiny box with a lot of memory, serving everything as fast as possible, especially if you have a good cache plugin. It's really good at scaling people and access control. So when you work with a site where you have a bunch of different clients coming in there, if you have a core roster of employees that are working on stuff, it makes it really easy to make them super admins, and they can go jump on any site on the entire network. So and you can run hundreds of sites on a network. And if you have everything in one place, that makes your access control easier. You're not futzing with copying and pasting passwords or having a document somewhere. What is the admin password that I set up, or an auto-generated password for whatever freebie hosting account you got with it. One place, it owns it all, and you can control it all, and you can also lock people down per site. You can do roles and you can change up role and capabilities to give people custom access to certain things, like allowing editors to edit menus. Because often then somebody who can edit their own site, they need to go there and make some new admin or something. But it gives you a pretty consistent way to give both your clients and your employees access. Team development. It's really good at scaling this because of parent-child themes, which is what we use extensively. You can build all of your work on a couple of parent themes, and it makes it dead simple to keep rebuilding it. There's a lot of useful patterns you can keep using. As long as you tweak the themes a little bit and do your includes the right way, you can really bend any of the 2012, 2011, 2013 templates in a lot of ways just by doing simple overrides and sending them to the child theme. That way, whenever they get updates, you can override functions, you can build in special plugin hooks. Very easy to keep reusing the stuff that you're doing with these themes. And the nice thing is you get something like 2013, which is just a major step forward for WordPress. It becomes responsive, it's sensible, it's easier to work with. The targeting is a lot easier to work with, the styling is a lot easier to work with. It just gives you a really good base to start your work product on. And I just went through that. And The big thing is I know that I love messing with servers. I come from a background in computer engineering where all I do is mess with computer hardware. I worked as a network engineer for a little while, and I love toying with hardware. I love tweaking things. I love monitoring resources on routers and seeing how fast these requests go through. But you know what? I don't get paid to do that. I get paid to deliver sites. So I need to find better ways to deliver sites. And if I tell my boss that I spend 50% of my time fussing with PHP SVN config, they're not going to be real happy about that. They want me to be building sites. So why should you care to go to a managed host? Because you can sleep. I don't know how many of you guys have sites that are critical, but when they go down, it's a bad thing. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're at a bar. It doesn't matter if you're asleep. You have to go react and get some way. You have to react in some way to get everything up and running. And if you're dealing with a host that has a bad support system, you're not sleeping. You're going to stay up and you're going to be on the phone with an overseas call center trying to get them to fit the junior person, trying to walk them through the basic process of how to fix your WordPress site. Client satisfaction. One of the bigger things that is coming out for a lot of these new WordPress managed hosts is they will actually take on some part of your client support, which is huge. Stuff like password resets or minor, like, I don't know what happened when I turned this plugin on. Clients like WP Engine, they will actually field your client's calls on that. You ask them to. And that means you don't have to answer those calls. For somebody who's built into Theme Customizer now, you can let them go do that stuff. If they break something, they can roll it back. It's all built into all these managed hosts. Vacations. You can go on a vacation and not worry about what's going on with your sites. You can just turn off push notifications and enjoy things. And profit. There is a profit curve we're going to go through on here. You can definitely hit a point with managed hosts that there's cost up front, but you can maximize your profit, and there is always a value on your time versus what it's worth and not have to worry about all the minor things to manage hosting. And we will get to profit in a moment. So first, I just wanted to go through just a high level of what's managed and unmanaged, and it's kind of a gray area in between that I'll cover at the end. But for the most part, you're probably all familiar with unmanaged hosting. Yay, GoDaddy, $3.95. Bluehost, $1.95. HostGator, $4.99 a month. And Cheap as Dirt Hosting, $2.63 per month.
Actually called
I just Googled Cheap as Dirt Hosting. So what is it? It's usually something that's highly commoditized. You're going to be stuck on a gigantic server farm with a bunch of other people. There's no guaranteed resources, and of course they will always tell you you have a guaranteed 2 CPU, you have a guaranteed whatever 100% CPU, you have a guaranteed 46 megs of memory or whatever, and it is never true. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Almost any cheap hosting operation is not running parallel. They're not running Virtuoso. They're not running a managed environment. They're running like OpenZen or they're running one of the low-budget kernel sharing services that really don't give you that much of a guarantee of resources. So if you have any kind of traffic spikes, you go over anything, it is not going to behave like you think it's going to. You really don't get to manage your stack, which can be a pro and a con. But a lot of times you're really just going there and you're going to Quest or something, going, fantastic, go install WordPress, and it just does its thing. And it's like, here's your WordPress. So if you have any kind of need for you to, jack a custom define with WP config, not always an option. If you need to change permissions on some of the folders, not always an option. But again, that could be a pro or a con. Performance is an afterthought. They really just want to get you to put your credit card in there. They don't really care how their resources perform after that. They will give you a nod, but if you spend more than 40 minutes or 30 minutes on the phone with one of their support people, they're losing money. So they're really not that concerned with how you perform. They just want your $3.95 a month or $2.62, whatever that was. And special features, as the WordPress ecosystem evolves, there's great things like backup hiding and things that help you kind of manage the life cycle of a site. But they are not going to give you those for $2.63 a month. You want that stuff, you got to go build it. You want to deploy themes from source code control, you've got to go build it. You've got to go figure out the keys, you've got to go figure out the deployment, you've got to go license or buy something like Spring Loops or Beanstalk or something like that to handle deployments. That's all on you. So, and the support, as we discussed, I'm just a little bitter because it wasn't about 3 weeks ago where I was up for 4 hours between the hours of 2 and 6 with a super junior person at a hosting company trying to explain to them over chat how they don't understand how web servers work. It took me 4 hours to convince him that I was right. And then the senior person made a change, and that could have been done 4 hours later. But on the other side, it's so cheap. You can't tell me you got to look at this at a monetization point and going, well, it might suck, but at $2.63 a month, like I can charge clients, I can drop my rates for my clients at $40 a month, and that's like $37 profit. That's great. I'll take that. So managed hosting. As I said, this does come in managed in many flavors. I'm going to go over the really more of the service-oriented tier, the higher tier here. And like I said, at the end, I'll wrap up with some other ones. WordPress.com. I think everybody's familiar with that. Now you have the more focused hosts like Pagely and WP Engine. They're WordPress-only hosts, and they offer a bunch of very nice, attractive packages that do a lot for you outside. And then there's also custom hosts like Firehose and Bluebox, who are not necessarily WordPress specific, but they are managed hosting providers in that they manage everything under the application. So they'll do monitoring, they'll do more service rotation, they'll clone and put them up, they'll handle all your support for network, they'll handle your, if you need to scale more, they'll watch your prices for you. You need CDN optimization, they do all that for you. But they are definitely a more expensive tier, and you still are responsible for everything from the WordPress install up. And so generally, outside of the last two I just talked about, when you talk about managed hosting, they're going to handle the WordPress core updates. And the standard policy is generally they'll do security releases rolling through the week, and they'll do major point releases within 30 days after release. And they'll give you plenty of notice, so you can just either say, rock and roll, I think it'll work, let's go, or you can actually go test it and see if it's going to give you any headaches. They do let you touch and mess with everything in the WordPress app. Most people understand a lot about how WordPress works and how there's certain situations, certain plugins where you need to have more control over file system level stuff, or just general configuration, or maybe you need a different kind of database setup. But they'll let you go and do those for the most part. But they can have limitations. Not to say you can just go play on their platform. It's usually a WordPress specific hosting platform they're building for you. So there might be things like if you have an old plugin that throws a ton of warnings to PHP 5.2 or 5.4, and you're like, wow, I really should have 5.3, they're likely going to tell you, I don't think so. That's, our environment is built for 5.4, you're going to use 5.4. Use a plugin that was offered in the last 18 months. Performance optimizations are built in, and when you dive into this, there's just so many things you can drive stuff crazy with optimizing. But on the whole, these guys will do something like a Cloudflare or some kind of layer in front of you. They'll do reverse caching. They'll minify your scripts for you. They'll offload all your images to CDNs. They jack caching in between MySQL. They jack object caching in there. They put any kind of caching for your files, moving files as always at CDN. But there's a lot of under the hood stuff that you really don't have to worry about because they're doing the best job they can to make sure the stuff is fast. And there's a lot of that low heap optimization that's ever been through. Message WP photo caption, like, wow, I did not check this box. This is a lot faster. These guys do that for you. You just have to go and work on your theme. They do have a lot of other cool features, like they can do snapshotting. So you take snapshots at a point in time in your site. You can roll that back and forth. Source code based deployments. So you can have various portions of your WordPress has to source code, and you can do forks and deploys to it. And that's how you deploy. That's how you run updates to your site. No going and logging in, FTP my files, hit refresh, you just deploy code, good to go. And backups. They do all kinds of crazy backup scenarios where at a point in time they can actually do database and file system snapshots, so you can actually completely just time capsule a site and just roll it back to a point. And you can take those snapshots yourself along the way. They do redundant offsite backups, so you never have to worry about getting that email. I don't know if anybody's ever got that from the cheap host. Like, we had a minor hardware issue on cluster 724. You have files that you really like? Sorry. And another thing is the WordPress specific hosts, they're hands-on. They will get in your WordPress install and help you with stuff. If you tell them things like, if you create a user for me, they'll do that. They will actually go in if you're saying, I'm getting this white page on this one page. They'll go look at your plugins and look at errors. So they go above and beyond what you would get with your 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. staff. And like I said before, they will be your clients. With certain contracts and certain levels of support, they'll support your clients if they have problems with issues. They'll walk you through, like, I can't edit this page because it's locked. They'll deal your client questions, saving your time. So, but they're not that cheap, and that's the problem. So when we talk about cheap, let's go through some of the options that we have here. The first thing everybody thinks about when they think about DIY, super cheap hosting is going to be Amazon. You can get yourself a single micro reserve that's heavy utilization for a 1-year reserve contract. It's $877 a month, total $105 a year. You get to do all of it. But if you get these things set up, they're actually fairly good. And you can get one solid site doing a fair amount of traffic. You can probably squeeze more on there if you've got a lot of low traffic sites. But that's at your own discretion. Then if you just don't really want to manage it, you want to manage a little bit, but you want to have them take care of the super hard stuff, you have the options, and that's probably your mid-range host. Roughly $10 a month, and generally you're only going to put one site on there. Again, you probably could squeeze more than one site up there if you wanted to. Depends on what kind of clients kind of fit on there. But you still are on the hook to do a lot of the things we talked about in the earlier slides. And then when you go to something like what I recommend almost anybody who doesn't really want to mess with the server ever, spend them $30 a month. Their stuff is really, really good. And if they save you 2 hours of sitting on the phone with your client, you're profitable. I tried to make this a little more visual, but it was more difficult than I thought last night. But the big thing is how do you make these scale for you with managed hosts, and that's site testing. Figure out ways to get more sites on the install. And there's a couple different, there's a lot of creative hacks out there to get multiple sites. But usually these days with 3.6, just use multi-site, use a network. It's really good, it's really well thought out. And if you can get more than one site on there, you can start making this a real option for your clients. It just makes fiscal sense. And yeah, I know the math sucks. I was trying to find better ways to present this. In my head, it worked out really well, and I had beautiful graphs. And then I got down to make said graphs, and it just didn't go. So I swear this math doesn't work out. But what I do see when you get one of these WordPress network style sites set up is it's great because you can update all your sites at once. So if you've got 30 sites, 60 sites, 100 sites in one cluster, you can just hit one button, it goes through until the database updates. If you've got any weird crap you've written for plugins, it hooks, so you can go ahead and tweak in whenever that update happens and get stuff done, tweak stuff, make sure things are set up correctly, make sure any changes happen. In MySQL, for as much as all the cool kids like using NoSQL and Mongo and whatever, MySQL is really good at scaling lots of tables. It's very, very good at that, and it's fast. So the way WordPress networks work is it uses the prefix from WPDB to just append a WP underscore number. So if I create a new site, it's WP underscore 1. If I create another site, it's WP underscore 2. And then the same table you normally have in a WordPress database, which can be, if you look back in like 2003 and beyond that, like, oh, you can't have too many tables, it'll just blow up. Not anymore. MySQL is rock solid. You can jam thousands of tables in one WordPress DB, and it is really good at just figuring it out and giving you fast access to all that. And WordPress's object cache helps that out a lot. And then when you're doing a single instance, this is how I do things. We have every single theme wrapped in a Git repository, tied up to another twin repository, so we can push this in and out and push different environments. And that way I can work on every site individually just by looking at the Git repository and seeing a GitHub workflow. Check it out, fun with it, deploy it, go production. And with those managed hosts, they actually can do entire site deployments. So you can actually use you can do versioning on those WC4 files if you'd like to help roll stuff back and forth, or you can stick with that. One of the things is like WP Engine has this feature, one-click staging. It's really genius. It's all they do is take a snapshot of your database, take a snapshot of they run all the files you get. So they check out whatever you have currently on your site, and they take a snapshot of the database. They put it into a temporary instance, and they give you a big fuzzy URL, a lot of random characters.wpengine.com. One click, you can go mess this up on your site, and then you merge it back. So if you go back there and make all these changes on the stage site, and you show your client, and they're like, oh, that's cool. All right, redeploy back to production. And walk away from it. Deploying automated backup and restore. We talked about that. Proactive monitoring. That's another really good thing. You never want to get that call from the client saying, hey, I'm looking for my site here, and I'm not seeing it. I'm on the Southwest flight, and I'm just not seeing the website. These guys monitor everything. You will know before your clients know if anything's down, and a lot of times they will actually fix stuff for you. There. And the good thing about this is there's actually a lot of middling ones in here. This is that gray area I was talking about. GoDaddy, Rackspace, and UTemple all have offerings that are sort of managed, or they have entry level where you can migrate to manage from them. So you can start out on a Rackspace, a regular old Rackspace account. You can start out on a UTemple grid server, $20 a month. And they will actually migrate you. Rackspace has 3 products. They have managed hosting, Rackspace has cloud sites, and Rackspace has their standard unmanaged hosts. And you can put stuff on there. They will do the migration for you. It won't help you be on the migration, but that's a really good option to start with if you're already on one of these hosts. And GoDaddy, I was shocked to see they actually do how to manage it here. But they'll manage the WordPress install for you. And if you actually start out with their unmanaged, you can have them roll it forward. So you say, hey guys, you know that $30 a month? I want to upgrade that to 38, and can I put that on managed? Can you guys migrate that to the servers and make sure the site doesn't go down? Thanks. They do that. And they'll take the site, they'll migrate onto their platform, they'll make sure it works, they'll make sure the upgrades on WordPress are run, and they'll let you know when it's done. And then that's a really good way to start playing with the stuff if you're already on one of these hosts that has a link here. You can have them migrate to the managed hosting, see what works out for you, see if it makes price. If not, no contracts, it's all monthly. If you don't like it, it's expensive, it's going to work, go back to the unmanaged. So, guys, put that back in the cheap stuff. And yeah, this is going to be the fun part. I could run through this after if anybody wants to, but I was going to go through the request that I had there, the request document that I built for my company that went through the RFP. It's a more formal look at RFP. I don't know if anybody is interested in that kind of stuff. It's kind of boring. It's really long. But if you guys want to see that, we can go through that later. And outside of that, I'm done. Does anybody have any questions?
What about you said they package the database to the JSON server too?
Yeah.
At hosts
Yes.
all the links fine, and it'll search that.
It does create a race condition though, because that's what I didn't like about it, is if you make a change, you go to that stage site, and you change some stuff, changes in the database, like edit pages or whatever. If you redeploy that, if there's anybody that's been any change on the production site since that point, those get lost. So they don't merge back like the traditional Git. You can figure out them. Right. Which for the most part, like if it's a brochure site or something, who cares? It's not that important, but I know that was a deal breaker for us because we do event-based sites. So if somebody changes the on-sale time for something, and then I overwrite it with something, I'm going to get a lot of help in that.
What about those the engine and the network site on the scale, subdomains and domain backends?
And that requires a little bit of trickery.
I mean, that typically takes a dedicated IP as well, and so do they allow that?
They do allow that. So that's the thing. You have to know that their WordPress network, since it's a core WordPress feature, WP Engine supports it. You just have to ask about it. They don't put it anywhere in the documentation, but if you ask them, you're like, set me up, change my configuration to the network, they will do that. And then you just use your DNS to give yourself a subdomain set. Just set it up as a subdomain install, and then just give yourself like my awesome server staging.com. And then just create subdomain site 1, site 2, site 3, and then you can use DNS trickery to change that to your client domain. I mean, we do that anyway just so you have access to both.
Yeah.
So we'll have some clients subdomain.sites.net, but